What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that gave me some raw physics, JC.
I don't know how you want me to respond to that.
That was kind of what I was going for, to be
I'm
honest
just going to completely no-sell you on that one.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care at all. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about this week on the program, JC. We've got Raw, SmackDown. We've got a little bit of a Bash in Berlin to think about, as well as All In, and that other show on Wednesdays that are kind of, all over
apparently
the place.
You want to talk about it this week, so we'll carve out a little time there at the end or at some point to talk about a little WEA. So
WEA, all right.
That's what it is backwards, right? Yeah, WEA.
Wrestling.
I see the Joe Stopper's already in the chat, so we got to mention AEW right away so he doesn't go to sleep.
Well, he's going to go to bed by 9 o'clock either way because he's an old man. It is what it is. Anyway, let's start where we always start the program, always in the shine, JC. Since the positivity is usually in your direction, what would you like to start?
Nestlemania, I would like to start in the shine this week with throwing you a curveball, and I want you to pick the best thing of the week from this week because I have a couple things that I really liked, but I don't know which one stands out the rest, so I'm curious to see, and I really want to see you flustered as I see you frantically looking at your notes, what you thought was the best segment of the week.
I mean, there were a lot of good things that I really enjoyed.
That's not what I asked. I said, what's the best?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, if you really want
to
put a gun to my head, I actually really enjoyed the first part of the show on Raw. I thought watching the Dom and Rhea and the Terror Twin stuff later on in the night with the, we're getting a match mixed tag at Berlin. I thought that's great. But just it wasn't deep enough line made me chuckle. Everything, and then it's somehow the thing I love about this stuff is it leaks into stuff. Like, okay, now we have Carlito coming in, and then it's like when you see Priest in the background of Dom and Liv, and it's like, all that shit, that's great. There's a brawl. She doesn't get her hands on Liv, like Rhea's still running rampant. I love that. And then it's just all of those things. It's just mass chaos. Like Raw really does feel like chaos. And I think the important part is when I'm watching Raw, it feels like I'm not watching a scripted show. It feels like things can happen, and I like that. And so when they're brawling up in the, the loge or the food court area, that's fun. It makes it feel bigger. And then just the back and forth between like, mommy made me a man, but Liv is gonna make me. I'm a dad. Like I'm a big guy now. I'm a man. I need to be a man. Like I'm on my own. All that stuff is hilarious. The double entendres, the sexual innuendos, all that shit's funny. So I thought that was just. You can tell they're putting their best foot forward with this entire thing. We knew like Gunther's the world champion. He'll be fine. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, next too. But something about the Judgment Day is so refreshing right now. I don't know if they're going to change it or not, but it feels good for me. I'm curious your thoughts.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. This is where I would have started too, because to me, it just like you hit it right on the head. There's so many moving parts with this group, and like everyone has a purpose. Every week, everyone's involved in something. Like, to me, like the Liv Dom dynamic has just been so good. Like it is super hot fire right now. Like it is an A+ storyline. Damian and Rhea are as over as they'll ever be. You hit on my favorite shot of the night, which was Liv and Dom obviously up top talking to Rhea, and Damian just pops up behind it. Thought it was a great shot. Priest gets his hands on Dom a little bit here, but I think the other thing you kind of mentioned there that I really, really like as well is Rhea really hasn't got her hands on Liv yet. I think that's important because Liv has been good about getting away. And then we saw even this week, like she saved Dom, like Dom saved her last week too. So it does kind of sell the tag match even more because these two have been very good at getting away. Plus you also like have Carlito, JD, and Finn running in and kind of like playing defense for them as well. But Yeah, no, it just like this group, they get so much TV time. They've gotten so much TV time for what is it, a year and a half, 2 years almost now. And it's one of those things like it took a while before it started evolving, but now it's just been constantly evolving. And every week it still feels fun. And I think every single person in this group has benefited from it in just extraordinary ways. So it's compelling television. They find a way every week to continue to keep it compelling and evolve this stuff. And these characters are changing and evolving, and just like what did Finn called himself something at the
Oh,
end of the show?
backstabber ballad. That
Backstabbing
makes
Ballad. I
me
love that
bone
too.
up.
It just
Oh my God.
yeah, it just is like it's good because you see like the visual of them whenever they do those backstage promos and they're all like grouped around and they're like, we don't have leaders, even though clearly Finn, you're by far the leader of this fucking ragtag bunch. But it's just like it works. Everything is working for me with this group right
You're
now.
part of the leader of this ragtag bunch. What, he couldn't be Carlito? Come on.
I mean, hey, that'd be cool.
Our boy Danny says it's great to see how far Dom's character has come. He was pretty mad when he started, but now he's a must watch. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the clips of Dom on Logan Paul's podcast, but you want to talk about being a heel no matter where you are.
Good.
Holy shit balls, does he just that dude just gets it. I don't know if it's because his dad helps him or if Conan helps him or if other people are in his ear, but he's a natural asshole.
I think he's just having fun, man. It's one of those things like he just started doing it and he's like, you can tell some people when like before it happened with Dom, like the booze, like obviously it was mainly because he turned on his dad and stuff, but it was also because like he's this young prodigy kid and whatever. But it's just like he's just embraced it. Not everyone fully embraces it, but Dom, I'd say he's even gone more than embraced it, where he kind of like relishes it and he tries to make it even more. And it just like he probably sits there, he's eating his chicken fingers in the car, you know, with Liv staring at him, probably going, man, how can I be the biggest fucking asshole in the world this week? And it's just like it's perfect.
She lets me have all the tendies. When I heard that, besides the not going deep enough thing was funny, and then like the chicken tendies thing, I was like, what a like, you couldn't have a baby face do that, like the chicken tendies line. You know what I mean? So it's so fucking funny to me. But there's so much good stuff. You know what's interesting to me is I feel like Raw has really hit a stride in the last couple of months, but now I feel like we're hitting like that real nice peak. When I'm watching,
because a lot of their like long-term storylines paying off, especially with this group. It's just like the stuff they've been table setting like forever is finally starting to pay off.
And I feel like SmackDown feels rushed to me. It feels like, and it's not bad. It just feels like it feels like they're shoehorning, and
So you want it to be 3 hours then, so they have more time for character development. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I think I can handle it. I don't think the rest of the world can handle it, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's the beauty of DVR and fast forwarding. Right. Like if they add an extra hour, like it'll be an extra time for me, but there'll be things that I can skip. So
I mean, I look at it this way: if I start Raw at 9:30 every night, I catch up by 10:30, and I mean that's just me. I'm not saying I piss through everything. I know what I want.
And well, just like there's enough commercials and like a lot of the matches, like I'll watch the matches and fast forward, and if I see something that looks cool, I'll stop and whatever. But you know, unless if it's one that I really want to see or something I haven't seen before, like it's for the most part, it's like you kind of know what to expect, you know.
I was just pleasantly surprised across the board again for Raw because I thought Raw was really, really strong. If I had to pick which one I liked better, I would definitely pick Raw here. I mean, there was definitely some good stuff on SmackDown, but I mean, I don't know how you feel about all this stuff. We can break it down. We'll stick
with the Raw thing for some because you kind of mentioned it before, but I enjoyed the Orton Gunther promo. Thought it was solid. I'm really looking forward to this rematch. These are two guys that I just like. It's just a cool matchup. It's a matchup that before I saw it, I wanted to see it. When I was excited to see it at King of the Ring, I'm excited for the rematch here to pay off because I just like. I mean, Randy Orton's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like he's one of the best of all time. I'm in that category, and Gunther's one of the guys right now that I think is arguably one of the best in the world. Like it just like he's hitting on all cylinders. So for these two to match up, it's like you're crossing the generations, but it's also like. Randy Orton can still do it with the best of them. So it's a matchup I want to see. I think their chemistry works. Like we know Orton's over like Rover and Gunther's just hitting on all cylinders in terms of being a heel. So I thought they did a good job in this promo. They did exactly what they had to do in terms of character development. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what they do the next couple weeks. And I'm really looking forward to the match.
I think what I love about Gunther's character, I mean, we can talk all day about what Gunther does in the ring. That's just easy pickings, you know? But when I'm watching the character of Gunther, I look at it this way. Everything he says is so simple, and it's the truth. Like when he went after Priest, it's like, okay, you're street trash. That I can buy. 100% I can buy because it's a true story. Randy Orton, he goes after the fact that Randy Orton keeps making mistakes,
and he's old,
and he's old, and he's like, he's like, you've been handed everything on a silver platter. Like, it was just easy because it's regurgitated and recycled a bunch, but yet somehow it feels like Gunther finds a new way to extract that and make it make sense. And it might be the writers, it might be him, it might be a collaboration. I don't know, but I'm really interested in to see. Like, we know Christian Cage's device is the father thing, right? Like, we know that's the umbrella in which I was going to say corporate Christian for some reason. Christian Cage is kind of operating on, but Gunther seems to go right for the jugular in the most weaknessing, like the mental weakness way, I think is the way I look at it. And I'm really loving it because he can systematically rip somebody apart, but now he's got a whole nother dimension to his character where he's trying to rip you apart from your inside out and your feelings in your brain. So I'm enjoying it. And of course, then we get the McIntyre CM Punk nonsense.
Flew right seamlessly right into it. Just like you said, like McIntyre, like we know he's still sniffing that title. And it's just, what did CM Punk say many months ago? I'm not letting you win it. And it just like, it flowed perfectly. Like it made sense. It was a way to get them in the show. CM Punk obviously did the little thing where he said he had travel problems, but as Kathy Kelly and her great journalism, as Pat McAfee pointed out, CM Punk was sitting next to her on the plane. So it was just a ruse, but it continues like this cat and mouse game with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And it just like, look at it's working. I don't know if they're going to fight at Bash in Berlin. Maybe they do. This feels like a trilogy. So we'll probably get in the second match at Bash in Berlin. And then maybe we get the payoff at War Games. But I mean, this is a fun feud too. And it's just, I like that these two guys are loosely connected with Gunther and Orton in the heavyweight title, because it feels like both of these guys are going to be getting a chance at it at some point.
What I don't understand is you don't see that it's going to be a strap match in Berlin. I mean, that seems like a foregone conclusion to me.
Yeah, maybe.
I think strap matches are terrible. I do not get excited.
I'm not a big fan either.
The thing is like, I get it, nowhere to run, but it's the same concept to me as like a cage match. There's nowhere to run, but then we know the people fucking escape or go out the door, or chicanery happens in there. At least with the strap match, I get it. You're getting whipped. It fucking hurts. But I don't understand that's not going to get me excited to tune in. I'd be fine with just Punk versus Mac again.
Yeah, because we still haven't got the straight one-on-one, because we had it with Seth Rollins, the referee, but it's like they can do that. And then the third one's maybe where you have the bigger stipulation, like whether it's a cage or Hell in a Cell or a street fight or no holds barred, like something like that.
It's interesting to me because so I'm curious your thoughts on this, because it became kind of a thing on my timeline, and a lot of people were making fun of the person who brought this up because he was an AEW fan, but that's neither here nor there. Let's preface it like this. Punk in his promo backstage said it's not about the bracelet, it's about the symbolism behind the bracelet. It's not even, you can have the bracelet, whatever. It's the fact that he's got it my family on him.
That's your wife's name out of your motherfucking mouth.
Right. So I feel like, do you feel like that's kind of hair thin logic? Are you okay with it? Does it not matter?
No, because I think we agree, like a bracelet, but it's like anytime you have something that's like that, it's not about the physical thing. Like, it's about what it means. Like, for example, I have this right here. It's my Italian horn. My dad has one as well. It's something that's passed down. Like, when his life ends, I'll get his and I'll pass mine on to the next. It's just like, it's a physical thing, but it's more the symbolism of what it means. And that's, to CM Punk, like, it's his wife and his dog, two of the things that mean the most in the world to him. And, it's just a symbol that he can look at on his wrist and be like, oh, that's awesome. Obviously it's replaceable, but the thing that sticks with him and that bothers him is that not only does Drew McIntyre have that, but he continues to talk about his wife and his dog. So I think it works. At first, when he first started saying the promo, I had the same thought where I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I like this because I based it around. But once he was done with his like thought, I was like, okay, that makes sense, because it's true. Like, that is a physical thing. It's not about the physical thing. It's more about what it means to him. And Drew is using it as a catalyst to enrage Punk. So
that's a good point. And our boy Danny Grimwood says, isn't it weird that the two big feuds on both shows are about a bracelet and a necklace? I mean, I think
it's a way to not need a title. It's like, it's one of those things. Like, what do you always say, Adam? You said it's always good when they're fighting for something. And it's pretty clear in these two feuds, they're not going after championships right now. They're going after something that's meaningful to them. And I think it just makes it a better story.
I mean, it's definitely
funny because they are random objects.
Right. But again, your what you just said eloquently applies to the necklace as well, because it's a symbol. It's symbolizing something, right? So one's very personal in terms of like, you're talking about someone's family. The other one is personal, but it's a family lineage. So it's a little bit different. And I commend everybody getting on board with it, because I feel like it makes me feel like, okay, to me, when I watch movies or television shows or something like that, I look at like those little nuggets, like the necklaces or the bracelets and stuff. It can be any really big plot device. Those things drive the whole plot. So I'm okay with it, and like, oh shit, somebody has XYZ. How does that make that person feel? Or, like, oh my God, they got that superpower from this guy or girl. And it's like, you just think like it helps you do mental gymnastics in your brain. So, I mean, it's fun. I don't know. Danny, who's gonna feud with Carlito for apples? Ay.
Hey, that'd be cool.
It's just weird. But anyway, during that match with Carlito, very quickly, I was reminded, I was like, man, he's doing such a good job in his role. And week by week, I'm always impressed by him being like, yeah, whatever. I'll just do it. Like,
he's so good.
But he's probably just like, oh, let me just collect the paycheck. No, he's out there like just finding his way.
He's contributing. That's one of the things, because like when he first got hired, like he kind of showed up and he was gone. He looked great, and he came back and it seemed like, oh, he's not really wrestling. He's just kind of around, but he's doing things. But it's like, I think he finally found something that he could dig his teeth into, because Carlito, although he was a character to be taken seriously, like most of his characters being a fucking goof. Like it's just like, that's what he is. And it's just like, he's a naturally funny guy, whether it's intentional or not. So it's like, he kind of found his niche here. And now I think he's elevated that whole group. They've used him. I mean, he's been wrestling almost every week because he's clearly like found a little bit of a resurgence in the ring here. He's had some longer matches, and I mean, look at he's a great heel. He's great at selling. He makes those baby faces look good. Like he always has the funny stunts with the apple, but it's just like, that's one of those things. He's a team player, and when you're part of a faction like that, I mean, they got him and JD and Finn. Like those are three of the biggest team players they have in the company. So I think that's part of the reason why Judgment Day has worked so well. It's just like they have a lot of people just buying in and willing to do whatever it takes week to week to keep this thing fresh and fun.
Moving on, let's think out what outside the box here. You thinking a little bit more on SmackDown side, perhaps?
Yeah, we can go to SmackDown because you kind of mentioned it there, and I do think I want to have a bigger discussion here with the Roman Solo stuff, because obviously, like, Roman's back, the OTC. But like he hasn't spoken yet. We haven't got that. It's a different Roman Reigns than we've seen in years, because the Roman Reigns tribal chief would always just come out. He'd like take forever to come out. He would never really get physical until he had other people do his dirty work. But this Roman Reigns is focused. His sole purpose is going after Solo in the new bloodline here. And he's just all business, hasn't said a word. He took out Tama and Tonga here, or Tama and Loa. I always just say Tama and Tonga. It's Tama and Loa because they're both Tongas. The Tonga twins. That's what
there you go.
But
that's
it's
somebody else, but whatever. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, my main thing here is I'm just curious because I'm enjoying it so far because Roman's a badass. I'm excited to watch him fight all of these guys at some point, but I'm just curious your take on it's just like he's all business so far and he hasn't spoken. Like I'm waiting, like when are we going to get that segment where we hear words from Roman Reigns? It's just like, because right now it's just all fight.
I don't know if he's going to talk anytime soon. I really do. I think.
But how long can they go before it feels like we need to hear something? You know what I mean?
He might say something quick, but a long diatribe about everything. I don't think we're getting that anytime soon. I mean, I would be shocked. I'd be beyond shocked if we get Solo versus Roman Reigns at Berlin. I don't understand why that. I think that card's going to be busy enough as it is.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be on it.
I think this is what I was thinking. So when it was weird to me. I get what they're doing, and Jacob Batu is quote unquote whatever hurt or whatever, and he'll be back in a couple weeks. But my thought when I was watching this was like, and again, maybe I'm wrong, and you can talk me into it. That's fine. But I was happy to see him, obviously, and I was like, wow. Two things I took away: OTC is a chant. Did not expect that. Like as loud as it was. So that
3 letters is the easiest thing to chant.
I know. And I was just like, OTC, okay, that's a thing now. He's literally, this is what they wanted from the beginning, and it took them 11 years to get there. It's unreal to me. The investment that they made in this person, the crowd hating him. He had cancer. He fucking, gets the, oh man, that's sorry. That sucks. And then he comes back. They immediately boo him. Then we get a pandemic. He leaves. Maybe he never comes back. Then he comes out with this amazing character that basically changes the course of wrestling as we know it. has this amazing run for 4 years, and then loses, creates a bigger person in Cody Rhodes for that whole aspect, and then he comes back as this harrowing babyface, and you're just like, how the fuck did we get here? That was unreal to me when I was like, it was almost an out of body experience for me as a fan, being like, never in a million years would I had think that Roman Reigns would be the guy as a babyface, ever.
It is a full circuit type of deal here as I'm wearing the shirt. tpublic.com/jobberknocker, get your merch today. But it is crazy, but like this is literally like they set it up so perfectly, because like I know I've been a broken record the whole time, but I'm like the Solo was just their position. When Roman comes back, it's going to be amazing whenever it was, and like it's even been better than I expected, and that's why it's just like I'm curious to see what the next step is, because obviously he's outnumbered. But for right now, like you mentioned, they took Jacob Fatu out of the equation. He clearly can handle Tama and Loa because he can beat them up, but it's like,
right.
So it feels like it is going to be a Roman Solo match sooner rather than later. Doesn't feel like it'll be at Berlin, so maybe they do something else. Like but then like at some point, like when do like Team Roman start to come in? Like when does the Heyman comeback happen? I saw Joe allude to it in the chat. Like that's going to be a big moment when he goes back to Roman Reigns' side. When do the Usos get involved? I mean, Jimmy, you think would be the first step because he has a reason to hate this new bloodline, and him and Roman were kind of cool at the end for the most part. And then the next big one is Jay, and then whether it's Sammy's also involved as well as we get closer to War Games. So it's just, are we getting that Roman Solo one-on-one match before we get to Survivor Series and likely a Bloodline War? Or is that something they're going to find a way where it's just like they're going to keep doing these attacks, or maybe now Solo is getting better at dodging him and Roman's going to have to speak because Solo's not there, or he's on a different location, or doing what Liv and Dom are doing. So it's just, I'm curious to see what they do next, because I feel like they can't just keep doing it every week where it just comes out as woo, 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 woo. So I'm curious what happens first. But I think you're right with the Berlin card. It's just like it doesn't feel like they need Roman Reigns on that card at this point. So why waste it? But then it's also like, what are we doing in between? Because he's clearly showing up pretty much every week at this point.
I mean, I don't know how long we're graced with his presence, but I do want to allude to what Joe put up here, and it did feel weird, right? So it's like Joe says they treated the Gorillas of Destiny like the Bollywood boys with Jinder, and that's sad. Now, look, I tend to agree, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, he kind of got his hands on Solo a little bit. He beat up the Gorillas of Destiny, and he kind of fucking just beat the shit out of him, right? Like, and it was just
Tanga Loa sold his soul for him.
But my thing was, when I was watching this, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, was that the right move for Roman Reigns to kind of clean house that way, being that it is the bootleg bloodline? They don't need to destroy him, but I feel like in order to take that portion of that faction seriously, do you think there needed to be something different here so that we could believe that they're a credible threat to Roman Reigns and anybody else that aligns with Roman Reigns?
I think it's pretty clear that if either of those guys, the Tama or Loa, took a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns, it wouldn't go very well. And it's a shame, because Tama was presented well at first, but it's like, I think as long as Roman isn't ragdolling Solo, which he hasn't really done yet, he's gotten like little pieces, but it's like, it's one of those things, like someone has to take it. Like Roman's right. Like one of the biggest stars on the planet, one of the most unbeatable guys on the roster. Like, yeah, he should. If there's someone who can handle a tag team, it's a short list. It's like him. It's Braun Strowman. It's guys like that. Like they can beat two guys at once. It's believable. Like, so it doesn't bother me that much in terms of that. But I understand them wanting to keep Roman and Jacob Fatu away from each other. But I feel like Solo and company can't truly really get the upper hand until they have Jacob Fatu. We have him and Solo working together, and the other two kind of run the distraction. Because as of now, it's like Roman doesn't really need help, because it's just like he can take out those two guys, and he'll eventually get his hands on Solo, we think. But I agree. And that's why I know it's a strategic thing to keep Jacob away from him for now. But it's like at some point, Roman has to have the odds stacked against him. And they clearly haven't presented it that way for the first couple weeks. So it's like, how are you going to do that if you're keeping Jacob away? So, I mean, do they debut someone else, God forbid, and put them all on one side? I don't know, but I don't know. That's why for me, I'm very curious. That's why I was curious your take. I want to know where do they go from here? Because it feels like we're at the first point where it's like, okay, we get it. Now, what's the next step? What's the evolution of this feud to get us to the next level and get us to where we really want to go?
So I want to point out something that I read in an article here that Jey Uso said, and I think so. You think about it, the first time, like the bloodline itself created this kind of orbit, right? Like any Roman Reigns interaction with anybody uplifted anybody, whether you're an adversary or whether you're a part of the team or whatever. And to me, the breakout people were Sami Zayn, and of course Jey Uso, who became main event Jey Uso. But the rest were kind of like, background characters until they were, addressed. But Jey Uso said, this time around, and I'm filling in the blanks here, but this is what I think is something to watch out, crucial, like when we get everything going here. This time around, he said, watch out for Jimmy, because now it's Jimmy's time, and Jimmy's one of the funniest people I know. And now that they're baby faces, like Jay had his moment, and I think this is going to be Jimmy's turn. So I'm interested to see the dynamic change with Roman Reigns, Jimmy, Jay, maybe Sammy. Because, are we going to get a fucking comedy lineup here? You know what I mean?
Jimmy has to be first. I think that's the thing. It's like Jimmy has to be first. Like, I don't think the Jay and Sammy thing is that close.
No.
It's God, like, no. It just, Jimmy has to be first. He's the first domino thought. I think that could be what Jay is referring to, being like, look, it's going to be him and Roman against the world. And it's like, Roman's going to have to almost look at him as like an equal almost, because he's going to need him to when he's facing at least four dudes on the other side. Like, and Jimmy's his only reinforcements. At some point, like, numbers do matter, no matter how good you are. So it's just like, you're going to need someone. I think that's a chance where like Jimmy maybe can shine and kind of stand on his own 2 feet, because he's not near Jay. Jay's still on the other show. And eventually, I think you want to reunite them, but I think Jimmy's going to have the opportunity to shine. But it's just like, how are we getting there? That's what I'm curious, because I think without Jacob Fatu, I don't know how you get there, because Roman's proven he can take out the tag team there, and just it's one of those things. Solo will just to keep escaping, but it's just for Jimmy to come back. I feel like Jacob has to be there, and I don't know if they're going to do that. That's why, to me, I'm just curious how this is going to play out.
I can also see something in terms of, the minute that Jey Uso, thinks about maybe protecting his brother, that's going to be a big deal, obviously. But even before that, I think what they're going to do is prolong this a little bit. Oh, Roman Reigns came back. It's a big deal. But what I think will end up happening, at least if I was thinking about this from this point of view, was Jacob Fatu finally gets his hands on Roman Reigns, and all four of them destroy Roman Reigns. Yeah. You can write him off TV for a little bit, buy yourself some time. You know what I mean? And then you can get the, maybe the Jays or the Jimmys or whatever iteration with Heyman or whatever. Then you start to have those dominoes fall, because I think what should happen is that first meeting with Jacob and Roman Reigns is going to be one of those like, oh my goodness moments.
It has to shift the power.
Right. To me. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's where you like the fuse, and then you're off to the races, but it's going to be something special. I think as much as we're excited to see Solo and Roman Reigns, I think all eyes and ears will be ready when Jacob Fatu faces off against Roman Reigns. Not in a match, maybe just a stare down, whatever. Maybe he gets a Superman punch and shakes it off and doesn't sell it. It'll be a big fucking deal, one way or the other. So I think we know where we're headed, sort of, but it is interesting to see what will happen in what order, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
What else did you got?
I do want to jump back over to Raw, because clearly, like, this is 2 weeks in a row now. Bronson Reed is being given former champions, 2 guys that fucking make people look good. And yeah, like, it's just like he was fed the Miz this week, and he also got to take out fan favorite R-Truth. And we got a lot of tsunamis, which Nestlemania, these crowds love the tsunamis. I do too. You see this big Ben boy, as we'll call him, get up there and fucking jump his meat on people and just land.
His meat. That sounds like
smash his meat on people like tsunami. So it's just like, look, they're pushing this guy where they're making him a credible threat. Like, when you have Seth Rollins get written off TV by a guy, and then the next week you're getting the Miz treatment, they got big plans for you, baby.
R-Truth took all 6. That was
he has to save Miz a little bit.
Right.
Miz had the match,
No, I know. And the other thing, like, so I love this stuff. I think the tsunami thing is great. The raw physics thing, we can talk about this now because it's the name of the show, but I love the sports science aspect of it. I think that was hilarious. I love the amount of pressure that came down on him, or the tons of whatever, like, that always cracks me up. And again, that was an interesting way to make the tsunami feel important. So I tip of the cap to them for the sports science kind of stuff. I love that shit. I miss that, honestly. I mean, I used to always watch those videos when they would come out.
You would.
Uh, I just think they're cool. I'm a sports guy. I'm a nerd guy, obviously. So it's interesting. But I will say this, as a viewer, I kind of think it makes Adam Pearce look like a bitch, like even more every week. It's like, I'll fine you. It's like, clearly that didn't work because now he's back fining people again. And it's like, do you want a suspension? It's like, what's going to stop this guy from doing anything? Like, literally, unless you're going to cover the person who's getting tsunamied and injuring an official or something, what is going to happen? You're going to tase the guy? Like, to me, it's like, I get it. And I know it's theater. I know it's whatever, but like, it's hard for me to like, everything's great. And then Adam Pearce is like, it's almost, the only reason I can say this is because I'm a parent and other people are parents and they understand it. But like, it's like when you tell your kid, don't do that. And they do it again. You're like, don't do it again. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some type of actual method from behind the madness to say like, all right, you're going in timeout. Like put him in timeout then. Like actually do something to Bronson Reed. Otherwise, I don't buy Adam Pearce is an authority figure at all.
You think Adam Pearce can stop Bronson Reed?
No. But I'm saying like actually suspend him or actually do something to him.
He got there
like,
eventually with Drew McIntyre. They're doing like the same thing that we just saw with Drew. Like I think it's more of like part of the thing is that like Adam Pearce can't get his house in order with these guys and they're taking advantage of them. But I mean, look at Bronson Reed wants to do something Nestlemania. I think it's pretty clear that Bronson Reed can do whatever the fuck he wants because no one's getting to win the way of that meat tsunami.
I'm just thinking logically. That's all. I just feel like,
well, check your logic at the door, bro.
Alrighty then. But anyway, where do you think this leads then? Because it ain't going to Braun Breaker. That's
this is a big push. Obviously, he's gonna have a big feud with Seth Rollins whenever Seth comes back. Yeah, I don't think he's going towards that right now. I think it's just right now he's just gonna run train on like big names on Raw until I think a Braun Bronson is happening at some point. But it's like the way they're positioning him, like he's taking on like main event level talent right now. So it's just like I don't know if he's getting a Gunther, but it's like maybe there's a baby face they have like penciled in for him to feud with, like before Seth, like something. But it just they're clearly putting an effort to make this guy a top tier star on Raw.
I mean, I can see him facing Sheamus.
Yeah,
I can see him facing a Priest down the line, perhaps not right now.
Yeah, he would be a good Priest one.
That'd be a good one too.
A little tied up at the moment,
right? Obviously, but as I'm like scrolling through all the people that I'm looking at right now, like I imagine maybe even a CM Punk someday. You know, like I could see that. Oh, he deserves it. He's fine. He loves what he's doing. It doesn't matter. But you know, you take the beloved baby faces and then eventually maybe you get him to a Braun Breaker or you get him to maybe even a Gunther just to see what it would be looking like.
Braun's gonna end up with babyface. He's already too fucking over. We all love barking, man. We're all a bunch of fucking dogs.
It doesn't help when fucking he goes, hey, Pat McAfee, do you hear the dogs barking? I'm like, how can you hate this guy? And it's probably, honestly, we might as well translate into this, transition into it because the 2 out of 3 falls match was great. It told a great story, but I just love all of it. There's something about Braun Breaker that's refreshing.
It's fucking new. Electric. He is fucking electric to watch. Like in and out of the ring, it's just like the energy that this guy brings, his passion, his fucking drive. Like it's just like that's what I love to watch. I'm like, this motherfucker is fucking crazy, but you can tell he just loves it. He just loves it. He loves being out there. He fucking moves a million miles an hour. He's gotten so much smoother because that was the thing when he first started. He was like a fucking freight train. It was a lookout. But it's just like we saw it towards the end of NXT. It's like, oh my God, this guy's crisp. When the fuck did that happen? And now it's just like he's on a whole nother level. And there's a reason why they're not afraid of already putting him in the like on an Intercontinental Champion like right away. They're not afraid to do it. They're not afraid to have main event Raws. They're not afraid to put their top stars like Sami Zayn with him constantly because they know it's gonna fucking deliver. And man, oh man, like it's just I'm excited for his reign because I think there's a lot of fun matchups for him. And he is just like, I mean, this kid, he's already this good. Imagine how good he's gonna be in 5 years. Like exactly. That's scary to think about.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my thought was like, okay, he's pretty good. There's still a lot of things he should improve upon. But I mean, like you said, he's like 20 something years old. Kid's got all the time in the world to advance. But like, there was a line at the end of Raw where Michael Cole goes, you know, Braun's looking to break some records. And I was just like, are they really going to make him break Gunther's record? Like,
I don't think so. I don't think he'll have
So
it
what?
that long.
Then what records is he looking to break?
Who knows?
Is he gonna? He's not an
that's
undefeated
just commentary bullshit. I wouldn't read much into that.
I don't know about
just
that.
Like he just wants to fucking dominate. He wants to be the best. Like, I mean, it could be like maybe he'll be the one to beat Ric Flair's record. You know, maybe that's what he was talking about. You know,
or it could be maybe he goes on a Goldberg streak or something.
Yeah, when they say a generic line like that, I think it's one of those. They're just trying to get this guy continue to put this guy over, which is smart. I mean, he's gonna do it for himself. Like, just look at the fucking guy. He's fucking electric. I think the electricity. It's just like.
The one thing that I noticed about him, and again, it's probably something he's done for a while, but it was just really apparent to me in the 2 out of 3 falls match on Monday, was the amount of time he spent off the ropes. Like, it was like a fourth or a half of the match, but it was just like, it was like watching Sonic the Hedgehog hit that fucking bing, bing. It was just like, he was bouncing around, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's cool and all, but we've seen him fucking almost snap the rope or his neck. And then the other thing that I think he needs to stop doing, although it's very impressive, is the fucking apron clothesline to the table. Because one of these times he's going to slip and he's going to really hurt himself.
There we go.
And I just don't want him to be out for 9
months.
No one
should do any moves ever because they could get hurt. Here we go.
I'm just saying, pull the apron skirt down. That's all I'm saying.
Adam.
No, I'm just saying, look.
Put on your tutu, you little bitch.
Wow. That was sexist. Jesus.
Well, that's what you wear when you fucking do ballet. You wear a tutu.
Men don't wear tutus, pal.
I don't know. I've never fucking done ballet.
And clearly, it's shown.
Men can wear tutus if they want. That's sexist saying they can't.
Anyway,
I got a huge brawn boner, man. Like I got a broner. Like, come on, man. I got a broner, and I'm gonna break her everywhere, baby.
He is electric. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. He is electric. You can't not even the problem I'm having is. How do I boo him?
That's what I mean. Like, it makes sense. Call up a guy and make him a heel. It worked, whatever. But it's like, you've even seen the Sami Zayn feud. They kind of ended with a respect thing. Like, even in Braun's promos have kind of changed where they're less like, I'm going to fucking kill everyone, to be like more, no, I'm all business. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a cross. I just want to win. So it's just like, it's going to be a natural transition. And that's why I think like could easily like a Braun Bronson feud will be red hot. Like, there's a lot of great heels on that roster that Braun can work with, and it's going to work because it's going to be a natural transition. Because it's just like, I mean, anyone who fucking barks, who fucking like, come on, who doesn't love to bark? I love barking. We all love barking.
I think Pat McAfee going back to College Game Day might hurt him a little bit though.
No, it'll be fine.
There's something
that might not go back because he's on Mondays now. The reason why he couldn't do it is because it was Fridays. College Game Day is on Saturday, bro. He can still do Raw.
Oh, I hope that's true.
Yeah.
No. Wait, it's not happening because they said that Cole is moving to SmackDown. So it's the new guy, Joe, and Corey Graves, and it's going to be Wade and Cole on SmackDown. No. So he is gone.
He'll be back again.
I'm just saying. I think he brings.
I don't think Braun needs a commentator to be over.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is,
he literally is in the back, and people see him, and the crowd starts fucking barking. It's like a fucking bunch of construction workers calling, see an attractive woman walk by. We all just start fucking barking.
We all start humping each other.
Braun Breaker's like an attractive woman. It just gets all the men to bark.
Now that was an analogy I did not have on my dance card today. Cat calling to dog calling, dog barking. Wow. Meow. Jesus. All right. Anything else, or would you like to get heaty?
I have a transition piece because you probably didn't like this, but
okay.
I'm excited for the match. That's why I liked it. But Cody just gave KO a title shot. I mean, I kind of called it last week. I said KO's getting this title shot. Orton's on Raw. They're gonna do a babyface thing, just because whatever. I doubt Kevin Owens is gonna turn, but it's just like it makes sense because there's no one else on SmackDown, and they just literally had Cody be like, "I want to give you a title shot," and KO was like, "No." And I was like, okay. But then it's like him and Aldis apparently pulled a fast one on KO to got him to agree. But I was watching this. I'm like, I don't hate it because whatever. It's a match and I'm going to enjoy it because these two are just fucking great. But I know Nestle's going to fucking hate it and I can't wait to hear him.
So I will not put that part in the heat, which was, I will say, I was like interested in the idea of like, okay, Kevin Owens, I've never seen him be like, okay, turn on a match or whatever. Like I haven't, but I did laugh at like he's got a hair across his ass when Roman Reigns gets mentioned. Like that just made me go like, ah, what do you mean? I kind of
love that because that's deep.
Yeah, I know. It was just like, it was weird, right? Like that was to me like one of those moments where I was like, oh, I'll buy it. It's fine. And then they had the thing. But I think get him off my TV, get him off my TV. This has nothing to do with KO. It's all has to do with Cody. As I'm watching this, I am not interested. I think Cody Rhodes' actual adversaries across the board to me and the storylines that have happened, I feel like they have not lived up to the expectation of what Cody Rhodes is.
That's not Cody's fault.
No, I'm not blaming Cody.
I'm not blaming Stone Cold.
I'm not blaming Cody. I'm blaming the lack to me of interesting storylines that have gone for Cody.
That's being like, oh man, the guy who comes after Tom Brady, where he's gonna live up. It's like he just fucking beat Roman.
So wait a minute. Wait, whoa.
His level. There's always gonna be a come down.
Whoa. Well, which one is it here? Because you're saying he's the biggest thing since Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then you're saying at the same time he doesn't have people to work with.
I said his opponents, dumbass.
I didn't say that. I'm saying
I said Roman Reigns is Tom Brady. You go from having Tom Brady up there, and that's who he beat.
So he's Garoppolo.
Now he's not beating Tom Brady anymore. Now he's beating fucking Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Yeah, it happens.
I think that's a terrible analogy.
You're a terrible analogy.
I just think that you are sitting here as a Cody apologist. That's all.
No, I'm not. I literally, you just said it wasn't about Cody. And it's not about Cody. I said I agree with you. Like his opponents, it's not going to live up. Because when you're facing Roman Reigns, who's the tippity top of what could possibly be one of the biggest heels, if not the biggest heel fucking run of all time, and you conquer that, how does what comes next ever live up to that? It just can't. It's physically impossible.
But they haven't, to my opinion. They haven't done.
You think
enough.
AJ Styles sucks? Clearly,
that's not true. I just think AJ Styles doesn't have a good enough program.
He's not Roman Reigns, but if I'm putting someone up there, it's like, I'll take a feud with AJ Styles. He's one of the best in the world.
I agree, he's one of the best in the world, but I just don't love the storyline. That's all. Just like I didn't love the idea. Like I get like the Solo thing was like, oh, it was a device for.
To me, that storyline made perfect sense. That was the only one that has.
It was the one that was like, okay, but that's a device for Solo and Roman out of it, which is fine. Now I'm looking at the KO thing.
You thought Solo was going to win.
The KO thing was funny to me because when you called it, you're like the reverse of the Nestle curse. I don't know what a reverse of a curse is, and just JC facts. There's Nestle curses and JC facts, I guess.
JC knows. Hashtag JC knows.
Hashtag JC knows. Which is true. That's fine. But when I thought about it, it was like, it was funny for a moment, but also in my head, I thought, do they not have anybody else? They got nobody. They've got nobody.
Lashley's gone.
They got nobody. Yes. Pay attention over here. Watch your Dana White shit over here.
Suck it, underdog.
Suck it, underdog. Listen, all I'm saying is they haven't done Cody the best service. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's been fine.
They don't have enough. I'm saying
literally no one cares who's at the thing. Fucking people like, and you know what I mean? It's
okay. This is an opinion, Joshua.
Yeah, your opinion sucks, but we did that already.
I'm just saying, look.
Yeah, I'm giving my opinion on your opinion.
Listen, all I'm saying is, look, if Randy Orton can go over to Raw, can't we ship over someone from Raw to go face Cody to make some kind of nothing out of nothing? Like, let's do it.
Why they don't have to do it yet? Because they have Kevin Owens. They wanted to do this.
All I hate is watching Cody Rhodes have kind of like a nothing promo. That's all. I just think it's weird. That's all. It just feels like we're going through the motions. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a fucking baby face. They don't always try with them because he's so fucking over. They're like, oh, we don't have to try with that. We got to work on everyone else so they can all rise. We can rise the whole ship. You don't need to raise the mast. It's already high in the sky.
All right. That's fine. Yeah. Anything else that you didn't like?
Probably. Let's see here.
Probably. Let's see here. Put you on the spot, dickhead.
I mean, look it. Is it believable that Jade Cargill squashes Alba Fire? Yes. But is Alba Fire a tag team champion and an extremely good wrestler? Yes. So don't love it, but I get it, but I don't love it.
I thought it was stupid as fuck. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I got so mad because I was like, can we just break up the pin here? Can we just can we just not?
Like Isla looks, throw her in the ring more. I'm glad we're seeing her on all three shows at this point. Like, believe me, we're all happy as viewers, but like have her get in there and, jump on her or something. I don't know.
I just don't like it because I feel like, why can't we just have these women look good? I don't get it. Like,
well, it's one of those things. Like, if you want to have Jade squash someone, have her fucking squash Zoe Stark or someone. Don't have her squash the champion.
They're building the Pure Fusion, whatever the fuck they're
Is
called.
that really their name? Because that was one of the things I fell asleep with last night, and I'm like, I'm not rewinding.
Let's add it to the list of the heat. I don't like Pure Fusion.
What does it mean?
Collective.
Did they give a reason what it means?
I'm sure we'll have to bend the knee to Guthrie because it seems like he'll have a fucking explanation for something that doesn't matter.
Shit to Guthrie.
Well, anyway, I'll say this.
They didn't like Scissor Sisters or whatever?
Well, that clearly is probably taken from a porn industry, probably browsers.
I mean, they literally started scissoring. So just
my question is, what exactly is a Pure Fusion Collective? Like, is it they all mesh together in some type of like giant Megazord or something? Like, what are we doing? Like,
they just merge into a giant scissor. And
yes, exactly. We're gonna put you in arm bars. Like, who cares? I don't get it. I just like, at least with a name like Judgment Day, it's like, okay, I get what the name is, right? But Damage Control, I sort of didn't understand Damage Control. It is what it is.
Yeah, it didn't really make much sense.
I just feel like they have all these nonsensical faction names. If they call Judgment Day Street Trash, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna be like, what a dead on arrival with a name like Street Trash.
That's name's Judgment Day. You were reading the Street Trash. That's why you saw that.
Probably. But look, I'll say this much. Pure Fusion Collective, nobody knows what a collective is. First
I mean, a collective is a collection of things.
Right. But pure means like unadulterated, at its, form. But
fusion, what are they fusing here? Like, what's being fused?
Right. What's fused? Do they all have neck surgery? Like, what is it? Tell me something to explain everything. It's like I gave a list to Guthrie of other names I would rather. He's like, well, then what would you call them? And I gave him like 4. And he was like, oh, I like these. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
So they didn't give a reason. Because like I said, I completely fell asleep during this and I wasn't going to rewind it. They didn't explain what it meant. They just been like, we're called the Pure Fusion Collective.
Yeah. Crickets. Yeah. Crickets. You could have given them a badass name, and honestly, I think they would have been able to live off that name if you had given them something halfway decent.
How do we learn from Viking experience that you don't have to overcomplicate it? Like you don't just call them Pure Fusion. Right. I feel like that would be a little easier. It's simpler, but you have to add the word collective. Why are we adding extra words to,
He liked the one that I had was Fusion Fight Club.
That's bad. Easy, right? At least it seemed like they're all fighters. Like
exactly.
Like Zoe and Shayna are kind of like street fightery, and I mean, Sonya literally was a fighter. Right. Yeah, 2 out of the 3 were literally MMA fighters. Zoe could be believable with her moveset of being a fighter. So
you make them tough. That's great. I had other ones like Caged Fury. Just call them Tap Out. Final Impact, Strike Force. That's an old tag team name. Like, we could reuse these things in a way that would just be like, simplify it. Because it literally looked like somebody did a word gerbil gargle, whatever.
PFC, Planet Fitness Club.
Doesn't that seem kind of redundant? But whatever, it's fine.
Exactly. It's fine. So does Pure Fusion Collective.
I don't know. PFC. I don't know. They have a hard enough time being believable in general as a credible threat, and then you give them a name like that, and I'm just like, let's not pay attention to the fact that they're supposed to be running roughshod over here, folks.
They did injure Dakota Kai again. Shame on them.
Well, they're fucking assholes for that. That's what I'll say. Because Dakota Kai's the best part of it.
Yeah, I agree. Now we have Damage Control, the PFC, and the Fire Bitches fighting on Raw next week. So, hey, I will say this, Nestleman, you're getting your wish. Fire Bitches are going to get a win before they get squashed by Jade and Bianca at some point. So they're giving them a little run here.
You know who's going to take the L, though? Damage Control.
Oh
yeah, they're too busy building the They're too busy building the collective. They're too busy making this a threat. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, it's funny because the feud is Damage Control and the collective. Jesus Christ, these names fucking suck.
Right?
The fucking it's terrible. But that's like the feud. So they're gonna cancel each other out. The Fire Bitches will steal it, and then they'll head back to SmackDown and fucking eat a Jaded and a fucking hair whip and a KOD, and we'll be on our way.
It's so frustrating because the women's wrestling there is pretty good. It's just it's inundated with shit that I don't want to watch or listen to. It's unreal. It's bad. Anyway, moving on to other things I'm sure that are bad. Let's take a real quick look at SmackDown as I look at my notes here. Let's see. We already talked about the jobber alert here. Well, you did talk about Naomi a little bit, but the big 3 is going to be a thing. We know that. Let's see.
Are they fighting someone?
I don't know.
Oh no, it's Blair and Naomi rematch next week.
Yeah.
Naomi even the odds with the Fire Bitches and Blair. But look at that, Nestleman. The Fire Bitches got fucking feuds in all 3 shows right now. I'm loving this.
But I just hope they get a couple dubs. That's all I really fucking want.
They won on NXT. There's a dub.
There's a dub. Anyway, I don't. So we didn't talk about this. I do want to bring this up. I wouldn't necessarily clarify this as heat, but I was kind of like, this felt like an ominous promo with Bo Dallas staring at a TV and all that shit. Like they'll say more doors need to be open, more work needs to be done. Are we done with Gable and company? I don't think so. There seems to be a Bo Dallas.
It feels like we need a Gable, Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas one-on-one match before it can be done. But
I have a feeling that we are not still going to get Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas wrestling for a very long time. I don't know why. It feels like he has his
Nestle curse. We're getting it next week, aren't we?
He's gonna fuck off. Honest to God.
That's what happened last time.
Mark my words.
Oh God.
Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy will not be wrestling next week.
Well,
all right.
They didn't promo. They're gonna promo it. But
that's what I'm saying. It's a foregone conclusion. He's not wrestling next week.
Boy.
Okay. All right. If that happens, you can officially go to tpublic.com/jobberknocker, buy your Nestle Curse
t-shirt. You can already do that officially because it's already a thing.
It's our best seller because everybody likes to rub in my face that I'm an idiot, and that's fine. But I felt like it felt like a throwaway to me, so I was just kind of like, okay, great. We had this wonderful, 6-man that JC couldn't stop splooging over, and then we have this, and I'm just like, all right, guess we're back to not giving a shit for a while, and then we'll just little by little start doing other stuff. It is what it is.
Well, they had to give their creeds their stuff back this week.
Did it satiate you though, as a Wyatt person, like as a fan? Like, do you sit there and go,
forgot about them,
right?
This week, which whatever. So, I think the best thing for this group is to not be overexposed, though. Like that was kind of my point last week. Like last week was the first time I wanted more of them, and I think that's good. So if I see them every week, I'm not going to feel that way. So by them kind of blue balling us a little bit or Wyatt balling us a little bit this week, I think that was a smart strategic move because whenever you get something like this, it's like I said a million times since the start, like there's always an expiration date on it being interesting. Like you have to work hard to keep it that way. So to space it out and kind of take a week off, so to speak, almost a little bit this week, I think it's honestly a smart device because you can't overexpose this group. You just can't. It wouldn't be good for them.
Okay, that's fine.
That's my opinion.
Anything else, or would you like to get hopeful?
We can get hopeful.
Glorious.
You are my only hope.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
You don't have one, do you?
I do now.
Oh, good. Now. So I saw something on Friday that made me go, I want to see this. I don't care how we get there. I don't care if it makes sense. But I was just like, this to me could be potentially one of my favorite things ever. Is Tiffy time paired up with Pretty Deadly as a faction. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I can write so many different things. Imagine them as heavies for Tiffy when she becomes champion. Like that would be fucking hysterical. Imagine a match where someone thinks they're wrestling Tiffy. They go into the ring and it's Elton dressed as Tiffy. Like you could do so many random things. There's like Pretty Deadly trying to get Tiffany to sing in the musical and she's not fucking buying it. Just having Nia beat up fucking Pretty Deadly after the fact. Like there's so many things you can do plot device wise. We have yet to see men take the back seat to a woman. I mean, technically, I guess Rhea Ripley would be the first, but she was more of like on her own island. But I think Pretty Deadly as a accoutrement to Tiffy time, to me, I want to see that. I want to see what we can do with that shit. It'd be fucking awesome. And when I saw them together, I was like, instantly, there's something there. And I hope they explore it because Pretty Deadly is not on my television enough. And it hurts my feelings because I feel like they would flourish on Raw. They're stuck.
You know why they're not on TV as much? Nestle curse.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit.
They're like one of your biggest guys, and they've been complete flops in the main roster. Which I agree, it isn't a lot all on them. They just haven't been used that much, but
Pretty Deadly are not flops. It's just unfortunate that Triple H probably doesn't know right now where we can interject them on SmackDown. SmackDown is crowded in general.
Mm-hmm.
So at least they're getting minutes, right? That's all
They
we
had
talk about.
they had a tag team #1 contender tournament and they did not win.
Well, that's because DIY is our Triple H
We
guys.
are.
They're gonna win them back at some point.
Nah,
Woohoo!
Street Profits are winning that match, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Profits can get fed to the Bloodline. All right.
No, they could beat the Bloodline when Roman cost the Bloodline the tag titles. Or Jimmy cost the Bloodline the tag titles.
Ooh.
Ooh. All
right, what's your hope?
Possibilities? My hope is pretty simple. I came up with it right now because it popped in my head, and I think I want it to happen because I think he should do that. I want Daniel Garcia to go to WWE because I think he's really good and I enjoy him and I want him to reach his potential. So send him down to HBK, the best booker in the world, the greatest manager of talent on the planet, the greatest wrestling show on television, and let him mold him. I'm hoping to get Ricky Starks there at some point soon. We're getting, we already got some other boys there. Ethan Page became NXT champion right away. So Daniel Garcia, you're way too good to stay in that stupid company. Get your ass over to WWE, groom yourself as the future, and let's go, baby. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Hashtag Daniel Garcia is a hashtag JC guy.
Do you think he will get to the main roster and actually be something?
Yeah, he's good. I've seen enough of him. When I first saw him, I didn't believe, but the kid definitely has something. He obviously has the in-ring talent. He has a good look. I think he has good charisma, but I think what I've seen from him the last couple of years, he's found a way to make himself relevant and just connect with the crowd. Because I think a lot of times, like he does look like a pretty generic creative wrestler, but that was the thing I wanted to see. I'm like, can he connect with the crowd? And I think he's done that in AEW. And I think give him a nice run at NXT. He'll do it there. He'll get even better. He'll learn even more things. And I think he's a guy that I think he's just good. Talent rises, man. I think he's a guy, if he went there, he's a guy that could be taken very seriously and have a really good run in WWE.
Okay. Fair enough. Want to do comebacks?
Don't call it a comeback. I'm going to my second home in native land, Italy, because Nestlemania, there was a vignette on SmackDown. And I marked out like a fucking child. I was so excited. Post for me, baby. Giovanni Vinci's coming back. Finally. One of my favorite gimmicks of all time in NXT that had a very short run. This guy, he's not a charismatic masterpiece, but they found a gimmick where he doesn't have to talk and he can just smile at a camera, and it worked. And this vignette was great. He was a distinguished Italian man. And this dude's good in the ring. So there's always going to be a job for him. There's always a way to get a guy like that on TV if you're good in the ring. I don't expect him to be a world champion. Hell, I don't even expect him to be a mid-card champion, but I think he's a guy who can have some damn good matches, have some fun with his entrance, and I think be an integral part of a roster that, can never have enough guys that can just put on good performances. So I was happy to see this. This is one of my guys. This is one of my gimmicks. Giovanni Vinci's coming back. Vini, Vidi, Vinci. I'm very excited, Nestlemania.
I hope they give him the whole thing, the whole experience, the whole presentation, because what they did in NXT or enhance it was so good, right? Like even like when NXT, when he would do it and they'd freeze frame and someone was behind him about to kill him, like those things were stuck. Like those devices are great. Like I agree with you. They took somebody that was a charisma vacuum, but had great in-ring talent and they gave him something that worked. And I mean, like I'd go as far as like, even enhancing this to be more like a car commercial for, Lamborghini or like, or a perfume cologne commercial. Like you go, the essence of everything would be great. So I'm interested. When I first saw it, I just started jumping up for joy. I was like, JC is going to love this, and like, it's so stupid, but it works. Right.
Yep.
Like, and I think, like you can immediately see R-Truth interacting with this and getting it. You can see so many people that'll
deadly would be pretty good interaction with this.
Right, exactly. Like there's so many things that you can do with him making fun of the gimmicks. So I really am excited for him because I think he did as much as he could in Imperium, but there's something about him, by the way, I wanted to switch this up really quickly because it made me think of this when you were talking. What do you think about the idea? Because we have Gunther as the champion. We have Ludwig kind of standing tall and doing his thing. When I was watching Pete Dunne beat the shit out of Sheamus, I was like, I kind of don't hate the idea of having, Pete Dunne align himself with Imperium? I don't hate it.
I mean, Pete is definitely way better as a heel. Like him and Tyler Bate are a fun tag team because like whatever, like they work well together. But it's like Tyler Bate like has to be a baby face like all the time because it's just what he is. But I feel like at this point with Gunther, he doesn't need it. I think Ludwig works because he's kind of like his intro man, like whatever. But it's just like I don't think Gunther needs more than that because like Ludwig's not really a heavy for him. He's more of just like his right hand man, the guy that he trusts, and a guy that just like props him up a little bit. But it's just like I don't think Gunther needs like a faction at this point. Maybe in the future, it's one of those things you can always do it. They can always do a European Union stuff like that. We've seen him do it a million times, League of Nations and shit like that. Because it's such an easy thing. Like Randy Orton got the USA chant going this week, being calling himself an American man. Like it's very easy to do. It's an easy thing, like break glass case of emergency. But yeah, I don't think Gunther needs it right now, though. I think it would help Pete for sure, but I don't think Gunther needs it.
I really liked the device that they had. I almost gave Pete my comeback this week, but when they did the whole thing about like, I swallowed my pride for 2 years and I was a brawling brute and I hate that name Butch. I don't want, and I'm like, okay, built-in excuse for the crowd to chant Butch. What a great way to connect with him, because if you would think like, obviously he's undersized, but he wrestles really hard and he's so entertaining in the ring. And I think he's a great promo with what he does. So the last piece of the puzzle was that the crowd didn't give a shit about him. So I think by doing this Butch thing, they're telling you, hey, dickheads, chant Butch. And I was just like, okay, I can buy that because again, super simple, makes sense. It all comes back to Sheamus. It's a whole thing. I like it. So I thought that was great. However, my comeback this week is going to one Ivy Nile. I did not see her turning heel on that, that sweet Maxine. But as she stood up for her, Maxine is the dumb as bricks or just playing the role very well. But obviously she's playing the role very well. But like Ivy Nile, it was like, she loves her boys, the Creeds. They're like a family. It is what it is. But to see her viciously attack Maxine, I'm like, okay, now this feels like a real thing. I love when groups get bigger. Obviously, I don't want them to get the size of the NWO, but I do like when people get recruited and you're in, 5, 6, 7, maybe deep, and it looks pretty cool. And I feel like Ivy Nile was like kind of hitting her stride in NXT, and they called her up, and then she kind of just didn't find her footing there. And so I'm hoping now they might take her a little bit more seriously with Gable kind of pushing her, because I could believe Ivy Nile challenging for a title with Gable. I don't think I could believe her by herself or with just the Creeds. But now with American Made, I think I can believe it.
She fits. I mean, that's the thing. Like this new group with Gable just fits because it's like the Creeds and Ivy Nile, like they're just pure like workout freaks, like wrestlers. Like it just like that's what Gable is. Whereas like the Otis Maxine Tozawa thing was fun, but it was more like these guys aren't that. But it's like this group, like it fits. It's a perfect fit. And like I think Ivy's gonna do so well next to Chad. I think she can learn a lot from Chad too, because Chad's another person that is absolutely incredible feats of strength, but very small. Ivy, she is a fucking powerhouse, but she is a fucking tiny package, but she's an absolute powerhouse. I've always loved her look. I love with like the chains and everything. I've always been high on her. So I'm thrilled for this because like you said, it's one of those things. She got called up and it was weird. She was kind of getting more matches than the Creeds, but they weren't really allowing much at first. And then she kind of disappeared. Then she came back, and then she and Maxine were a tag team shortly, but then she was gone again. And so it's just been very off and on. But I think now, like solidifying her as a heel in this faction that's going to get TV time every week, I think will be good for her. And it's someone I think in a division where we say it lacks some depth. I think she's a player that can definitely help bring the division and make it stronger.
Okay. Well put.
Big old finish, Nestlemania?
Let's get to the big old finish there, JC.
On SmackDown, we have your girl, Blair Davenport, taking on Naomi in a rematch, and we have a Nia Jax championship celebration.
Do you think they tease a cash in here?
No, I don't. I don't think we're there yet. Because I think they're doing their friends thing. I'm assuming this is where Bayley gets back, and we probably do a rematch or some shit. So I think we're focused on that. Yeah, I know it's one of those. I don't need the rematch, but they'll probably do it. Probably maybe they'll do it on SmackDown though and not waste it at Berlin. But it just feels like Bayley's just going to crash this party. It'll be an excuse for that. But I think the next time we get a tease will be like the next like big match. You know what I mean? I feel like they'll save it for that because I mean we know that briefcase is still new. They want to milk that shit. Honestly, this Nia Tiffy thing is still new, and I think it has good legs. So I think they should take advantage of it. But yeah, maybe she like looks at it. Like if Bailey beats down Nia a little bit, maybe she looks at it. But I don't think they're gonna like tease it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
On Raw, we have 3 matches booked. Sheamus versus Pete Dunne, as you mentioned. I'm about to win another bet. Then we have the triple threat match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire take on Damage Control, Shayna and Zoe, and whatever the fuck they're called.
The Pure
FTC.
Fusion Collective.
Yeah, that thing. And then we have the final testicle taking on the New Day.
So we didn't talk about Odyssey Jones and Jobber Alert with the whiny dick or whatever his name was. I forget what his name is.
Cora Jade's boyfriend.
Yeah, they got fucking pizza.
Yeah.
By poor Odyssey Jones there.
Yeah.
But I do like the listen. I do like where this is headed. I just don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on Woods being upset and walking away or anything.
Hey, at least they're still kind of teasing it.
Right.
That's what I was worried about last week. I'm like, oh, now we're just back. But it's like now that we're, there's a little bit of hope. I'm interested.
I feel like they're just pulling us along though, because I just feel like the New Day is never going to break up. Like
I don't disagree with that. That's how I felt last week. So
I just feel like they're just stringing us along. My thing is if he can't turn on them, I feel like we're doing Karrion Kross a disservice. No,
I agree. Yeah, because it's just one of those things. Like if the villain takes this long and doesn't get his way, like not a very good villain. Like at least like at some point, like to be a good villain, like they have to win something before their fall.
Right.
Like you can't fall if you never rise. So it's just like he's just fucking tripping on fucking a root. He's not fucking falling off a mountain.
I mean, they're all goons. Like, you see Paul Ellering out there. You're just like, Jesus Christ. Scarlett couldn't do anything anymore. Like, I just feel like the best.
I really enjoy 3/5 of that faction. Scarlett and AOP. Yeah, you know me. This is my guys.
So you don't like Karrion Kross or Paul Ellering? Shocking.
I didn't say I didn't like Karrion Kross. He just hasn't done anything for me to really mostly give a shit. And I think to your point, like you just said, it's like, who is Karrion Kross actually affected? Like, yeah, like he feuded with some people on SmackDown and they became their characters changed, like AJ Styles. But who the fuck did Karrion Kross ever beat? None of them. Like that's the thing. Like
he beat 7 world champions though.
Wonderful, yeah, in NXT, great.
No, on the main roster they said he's beaten 7 world champions. We went through this list months ago.
Yeah,
it means nothing.
It doesn't feel that way though. It just doesn't feel that way because he's not presented like. I think this is one that he needs to win for me to give a shit.
Well, look, I agree, but it's hard because, like, to me, I'm looking at it like maybe Karrion Kross can do something here. To me, this is the most interesting it's been, but it's just, if they don't pull the trigger, like, shouldn't he go after something that he can just beat up? I don't know. I just feel like they're doing him a disservice if Woods doesn't turn or do anything.
I agree. This needs to end with Woods beating the fuck out of Kofi.
And it's not. There's no fucking way is it going to happen.
Probably not.
That's it. So I'm not happy about it. Not one bit.
I did like that he called him the final testicle because I'm like, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, well. New Day's always good for a ha-ha.
We can talk about the final testicle. And again, I love 3/5 of the group.
You're saying 3/5, I know, but it sounds like like if I was half listening, it sounds like you're saying I like 3/5.
Yeah, I like 3/5. I like Akam, Razor, and Scarlett.
Okay. Alrighty then.
You want to talk about AEW? Let's talk about AEW. What do you want?
Oh my good God! You ready for this one today? Yep. Oh my God! Here we go. We got 2 title matches on Wednesday night. Here we've got the Young Bucks defending against the Acclaim.
Wait, they're defending their titles?
Holy
shit!
It's happening. I'm not giving a flying fuck about this because to me, I think this is the coldest tag division in AEW has ever been.
I'm actually interested for it because they're actually defending them, but I'm assuming it's going to be a fucking bullshit, and then they're just going to get rebooked for All In.
This is how you know that it doesn't matter.
Out? Which one is it? All In, right?
You go all in before you go all out. That's what happens.
Some people go all out before they come all back in.
It's not February vacation, bro. Anyway, moving on. We also have Mercedes taking on our girl, Sheeta, which, again, in theory...
That's a banner fucking match.
That's a match that I want
to throw it away on free TV, right. Tony, you dumb fuck.
It's like, I don't...
Jesus Christ.
I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, why?
That's a fucking pay-per-view main event in some places. Like, what are we doing, Tony? I feel like it's one of those things like Cheetah and fucking Mercedes should not cross paths till they feud. Why are they in a throwaway match just to set up a Britt Baker return? Fuck off. Fucking Tony's such a dumbass. Jesus Christ.
I think Mercedes might actually be one of the biggest blunders that Tony Khan has ever had. Like, you were given essentially a golden egg on a silver platter, maybe a gold platter, platinum perhaps. Like everybody, when that girl walks into a room, everybody wants to know what she's going to do. And the minute she stepped on AEW TV, I feel like she wasn't presented correctly. Everything about her doesn't make any sense. And it's like, thank God she's one of the best workers in the world. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't like it's like I appreciate that she wants to go and do her own stuff. I get that. But I think she is killing her value, at least for the rest of the fans to look at her and be like, that woman should main event everything. And
if she was a baby face, I'd agree with you. But I think as a heel, like she's fine. It's just like the booking's bad, but the booking's bad for everything there. But it's like when push comes to shove, like it's like her and Britt Baker. Like, I mean, it's funny. The two women's fucking feuds might be the two best fucking feuds in AEW right now. It's just like you have Tony Mariah and Mercedes and Britt. Like they're two of the hottest feuds they got in that company. And like that's with fucking MJF and Swerve feuding at the same time. That's that's crazy. But it's just like I think as a heel now, it's like whatever. Like it's one of those things. It's like when the big moments need to happen, she's delivering. All the stuff in between is a fucking mess. But it's just like,
but it's not a her
thing.
The whole
that's fucking the show. The whole fucking show is like that. It's a bigger, obviously, like you said, it's a bigger magnification when it's a fucking huge star. It's like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
I'm looking at it like this woman main evented a WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's not easy to do in the WWE culture.
So did Edge and Daniel Bryan. Look how they fucking treat them too.
No, it's just it blows my mind because like we know when the bell rings, no one's ever going to say that's a bad match. We know that, but for some reason, the presentation of it to me doesn't align with what my expectation is. It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's not just her, like we said, it's across the board. It's the whole fucking show. But she's just a glaring example because of how much equity she has in all of our hearts. I don't understand it.
In the wrestling world, period. Yeah.
Right. It's fucking weird to me. Anyway, moving on to other stuff. We got Swerve. That's right. Swerve is going up against, got to see your face when I say this, Wheeler Yuta. Yep, that's a thing. That's the exact face I wanted to see.
Dog shit. Get out of here. Next.
Then we have Hangman. Hey, there's another one I want to see your face for. Hangman Page, right? Get excited against Jay Lethal.
Jesus Christ.
Here we go.
Are you sure this isn't the Rampage card?
Nope, this is Dynamite, baby. Here you go. Ready? Here's a three-way to see who gets into the Casino Gauntlet at All In, because the difference of a gauntlet versus a battle royal. We have Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly against Orange Cassidy versus Roddy Strong.
I care about one of those wrestlers.
I know. And they're tarnishing him while we speak. It's ridiculous.
I mean, they try. It's just he's cool. So
yeah. We have a film as Mariah May looking like Toni Storm, which I'll be interested in, but it'll probably be during a commercial break, so it won't matter. And then we've got something that should get everybody excited, but I don't think is going to care at all here. Let me make sure I read it correctly so I don't fuck this up. We have a face-to-face Okada versus Claudio Castagnoli.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
This was a feud, and I was like, I just don't.
You want to talk about another person who comes with a lot of equity? Like Okada.
To me, what you said about Mercedes is how I actually feel about Okada. Like, that's a fucking massive drop ball. These guys, the booking with him has been fucking mind-numbing for me. Because me, who doesn't really watch New Japan, like I'm aware of it. I'll watch the big things. I watch some Ospreay stuff. I watch pieces of Wrestle Kingdom here and there, or things. I watch Mercedes and Cody when they were there, stuff like that. But it's like, I know what Okada is. I've seen Okada matches. I know how amazing he is. He goes to a company like AEW, like he should be fucking presented as a fucking mega god. Instead, he's a fucking like satire for fucking the elite. It's like, and then facing Claudio, great, wonderful.
Claudio doesn't matter. It's just tough. It's just tough. So something I want to talk about before we get out of here very quickly. We have not talked about MJF becoming the American champion or whatever it is. I forget exactly, but it's to make fun of, Will Ospreay. He even defended it at Rev Pro this last weekend and came out looking like Hulk Hogan, had the pyro, the whole thing, said the real American lines and everything. And then some Mexican guy tweeted at him today and said, "Not in my America, pal." Like, he is going full tilt with this entire thing. But it's interesting to me, JC, because, arguably MJF was at one point, in my opinion, the best thing going, not only in AEW, I think in professional wrestling across the board. He then had the devil storyline with Adam Cole, which in certain portions to me was very entertaining.
Mhm.
Obviously, I felt like it fell flat at the end there with the kingdom and all that shit. But then he came back, and then it felt like he didn't really know what to do. And then he found this America persona, and I like it. And I think we're kind of getting back to where MJF should be. But I'm curious what you think, because to me, I feel like Tony Khan has to serve so many masters here to keep everybody happy. And Swerve's doing such a great job that they're making these random Continental and American and all these other whatever titles, where I'm just thinking to myself, like, is it less than, or is it more just, is it a product of like MJF kind of screwed himself over with that previous gimmick that now he's got to undo a bunch of shit?
No, I would never say that, because if someone's that fucking good and that over, it shouldn't be a detriment. It says more about people not knowing how to fucking use them correctly. To me, it's just like with the title, like I appreciate the gimmick, but it's like MJF has already reached the mountaintop now. So like you said, when he goes for something that feels like it's less than, it's what it feels like. It's like, why are MJF and Will Ospreay arguably top 2, top 3, 4, 5, however, depends how you consider everything in the company, and they're feuding over this, not even like the true mid-card title, which would be the TNT, but this side piece title. And like, again, I appreciate what MJF is doing with it. Like, it's a good heel thing to change the title name, whatever, like be this American, whatever. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't think he needs this title. And I didn't think Ospreay needed this title either. I get why they gave it to him, but then they gave Ospreay this title and they still had him challenge Swerve. And it was just like, I don't know. It's the booking is just so all over the place. I'm excited for this match because it's literally probably my 2 favorite wrestlers in AEW going one-on-one. So excited for that portion of it, but they have kind of lost me a little bit with this storyline. And it's just one of those things, like MJF's gimmick as a heel has always been like he doesn't wrestle. So why is he going to all these other companies and defending this? You know what I mean? Like, I get doing it once because you set up the Ospreay, like showing up, whatever. But it's like, I feel like he's wrestling too much, as weird as that is to say. But part of the MJF gimmick was always been like, I don't work hard. Like, I wrestle 8 matches a year. Well, all the rest of you are wrestling fucking 8 in a month. So I guess that's where a little bit of the disconnect is with me. But look it, whenever they decide to fucking put MJF back where he belongs, I'm going to care instantly because he's MJF. He's that good. So we just kind of got to suffer through this shit while we have it.
Well put. Well put. I think that's pretty much it. You got anything else? You want to get the fuck out of here?
Let's get the fuck out of here.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobberknocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobberknockery.